What's up, YouTube? It's Gadgets for the Win here, coming at you with another episode of the Deck Check. This episode is, it's episode 4, and this episode is titled, Is Yu-Gi-Oh! Too Expensive? Yu-Gi-Oh! I've had this said to me a number of times, and I've said a number of times. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like the stock market. The prices of the cards go up and down with ban lists, with their use, and even with reprints. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game where a lot of people will quit it simply because it is too expensive for them. They'll quit it for a number of different reasons, as I've said in previous episodes of the Deck Check, but this is focusing on, let's say you're thinking about getting back into the game, and something happened where either Yu-Gi-Oh! Made you really mad, or upset, or just you didn't want to deal with it anymore. And you decided to sell all your cards. And believe me, I've been tempted with doing the same mistake. For some of you, it wasn't a mistake. For some of you, you just you're better off now because of it. But there are some of you where you might have acted, not the best way, and you just decide to sell everything. Or you just bundled it all together and got, $200 for all your cards, whatever. People say, oh, it's too expensive to get back into, I have nothing, or maybe I have next to nothing, or whatever. I just want to give you guys a visual on what you can do with Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, sometimes, honestly, for under $20. There have been a number of different structure decks that have come out. This is one of them. It's the Yugioh Rampage structure deck. Within it, this is what you get. Well, by the way, these go for about $5 to $6 MSRP now. There might be websites where you find it cheaper or more expensive depending on that. Or you could go walk into Target and you find it. Let me give you guys an idea. Let's say you wanted to just go for a cheap deck, nothing too expensive, and it's just something you want to enjoy. Check out what you get. If you bought 3 Yugioh Rampage structure decks, check out what you get. You get 3 Yugioh Nexus, common. Here are your Yugioh Augurs. Here are 3 common Yugioh Armors. You got your Accelerators. You got your Arsenals. And you have tons of Gyurgianos and Gyurgiano MK2s. Those are all Gyurgianos. Plus you get the MK3 Gyurgianos, you get Attacker, and you get a plethora of other cards that pretty much makes you the staples to a Yugioh deck, right? How are Yugioh decks doing right now? They're doing decent. Are they tier 1? No. Are they tier 2 and can hold their own? Yeah. And if you've played it before, you know the basics to it, you can do really good at it. And also, too, depending on how much of your collection you've sold, maybe you sold everything but some staples. Okay, well, guess what? Your staples and 3 of these decks that cost about $20 total with tax or whatever, you have a deck. And you have a deck that will do pretty decent if you just go to locals and you want to get back into it, but you're not quite like building Shadows yet, or building Necros, and this is your in-between. Or maybe you're just wanting something cheap until the next ban list comes out, and then you can lay down more money for a bigger deck. There you go. Another structure deck that's pretty cheap. Hero Strike. Again, this is for those who want something just fun to mess around with at locals. Guess what you get in a Hero Strike deck? You got a common Neos Alias. You got your Honest, you've got even Summoner Monk, you've got your Miracle Fusion and E-Emergency Call. You even have a Pot of Duality. And if you want staples or stuff that's relatively good to use, I know some of these are limited, but you get your Call of the Haunted, you get your Bottomless, and you get your Compulse. That's all in that specific structure deck. If you wanted to play just a random version of E-Heroes, or if not, maybe you just want to get some Pot of Duality, some Call of the Haunted, or whatever. Maybe you're running a different deck that needs a couple Honests, needs Summoner Monk, or needs a Neos Alias. I've played against decks that use Neos Alias, they really aren't even hero decks, they just need it as a Gemini. Guess what? You get all that in a good structure deck. Another thing, too, Mirror Forces Fiendish Chains, a bunch of cards like that, and here's an example of them. Here's Mirror Force. Here's Fiendish Chain. This is a common Fiendish Chain. This is secret rare Mirror Force. These are, you know, I mean, obviously they're cards good to use in the deck. You've got Mirror Force, which is a good defensive card, and people will sometimes say, oh, I can't afford breakthrough skills, or I don't want to have to buy breakthrough skills. Guess what? The price of Fiendish Chain varies from like $7 to $21. That tells me it's got a good card. And I've seen this being used a number of different times. And to a point, Fiendish Chain is better than Breakthrough Skill. It's player pref, obviously, but to a point, it's better than Breakthrough Skill. And it's, at times, cheaper than Breakthrough Skill. What I'm pretty much saying here, the point of this video, is to tell people that are trying to get back into the game and you really don't know what step one is, beyond, like, you know, mentally preparing yourself, looking at the ban list, etc., like, the actual act of getting a deck together, there it is right there. This isn't, I'm not specifically telling you go for Yugioh, but the answer is in the product. Get out to Target or go online, and if you like Yugiohs, if it's a decent deck, and you're like me, and you're just really wanting to wait until the next ban list comes out before you drop your money on a deck, that way if you have to drop your money, you can enjoy it for a few months before it kind of gets crashed, here's an answer. If you have a couple of old Karakuri cards, make it a Karakuri Yugioh deck. If you have some Machina cards, make it a Machina Yugioh deck. Also in here, you get your gadgets. If you combine your gadgets with your Machina stuff, go with Machina Gadget. What I'm telling you is you have options. If you really want to dedicate yourself to the game again, but you don't want to dedicate your funds just yet, this is a great answer for you. Go spend $20, get 3 structure decks of a specific structure deck that is actually beneficial to you, and make yourself that deck. Who cares if it's all common? The point is you're actually playing. So I hope in some way that the message got across. I hope people enjoy this. And if this was a video for you, awesome. If you can, hit that like button. If you have any other questions, put them down below. I'll try to answer them if I can. I'm not an expert, so obviously I might not have all the answers all the time, but I do have an opinion. So if you want my opinion, if you want to hear my opinion, you know, give this a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you really like it, subscribe. But you know what? We got to get more people into the game again. There's a lot of people in the game, but I know there's a lot of you that are not in the game anymore. Come back to the game. I'm getting back into the game. I'm going to definitely be making more videos about me getting back into the game. And I really just hope you guys enjoy it. So, alright guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, subscribe if you want.